Hey everyone, it's Anna Runyon. How's everyone doing today? We are in the final, what is it? Final 3 hours left to join us in Love Your Career Formula. So I wanted to pop on here on Facebook Live in our Classy Career Girl Network and just support you guys. If you have any questions about your careers or your transitions, your job searches, whatever's coming up, or if you have any questions about Love Your Career Formula, before we actually shut the doors, I'd love to just be here for you, to support you. I'm all about supporting you guys every step of the way. So I know it's a big deal. I know it's a big leap. And I know what I want to talk about more tonight is just the power of community and how it's affected my life getting around a powerhouse community. And I think that also for you guys as well, I want to just communicate how much that can impact you and how much that can really change your life. And so if you are on the edge, we all have a tendency, I don't know how many, let me know. First of all, let me know if you're listening to this. Let me know if you're here with me. I don't care if you've never posted anything in the group ever before, just say hi. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to get to know you. Because also what I want to know is if there's any other introverts here, because I'm an introvert, and a lot of people don't realize that I'm an introvert, but I am. Is everything okay? Oh, okay. So I'm an introvert, and for me, it's really hard to apparently it wasn't centered how I had it. That's all good. So we are all perfectionists here. We like things perfect. So I hope that this view is better. So where was I? Okay, so I'm an introvert. I think we have a lot of introverts here. And I think that as an introvert, I know this was my story. As an introvert, it was really easy for me to just try and do things alone by myself, try and get ahead by myself, try and get that promotion by myself, try and do that job search by myself, try and make that career change by myself, try and grow my business by myself, try and start a blog by myself. I mean, there was just so much stuff that I have a tendency to just like go in my hole, focus. My number one strength in the Strengths Finder is focus. So for me, I just want to like be by myself, focus, try and get it done. And for many years, that's what I did. That's really what I did. And everything changed when I did that networking challenge that some of you guys may have heard about in 2011, where I interviewed 4 people I did know and 4 people I did not know every month for the entire year. And that's when everything really changed for me, because not only did I get out of my comfort zone, I became more confident, but I also realized what my ideal career was. I realized the direction that I wanted to head. And in the beginning, just from reaching out to people and talking to people, and people want to help you. And I think a lot of us think like we're afraid to ask for help, and we're afraid to get denied, and we're afraid that people aren't going to be nice or people aren't going to respond. But the reality is, when you actually do it, most people do want to help, and most people are more than happy to help you out and support you and answer your questions, especially if you just ask for like 15 minutes of their time, which is what I was normally doing during that year. So in the beginning of the year, you can tell that we're at the end of a launch, right? Like my voice is like practically gone here. So, but we'll be up all night. This is always a fun night. We were playing music before. We were might have had a little cocktail, just like having fun with this, because we know how big of a deal it is to join Love Your Career Formula, to make a leap, to invest in yourself. And we're celebrating for you. We're just super excited for you to make that leap and to grow yourself and to get into a community that can help you. So being just by yourself can only get you so far. And a lot of you guys are in this network. You've probably done, like, if you've made it here, you have done a lot by yourself. You're smart, right? Like if you're in this group, you're really smart. And so a lot of us are just doing so much by ourselves without reaching out to other people who know how to do things easier, better, faster than us. And that's when the real success happens. That's when you can just multiply. I mean, I know for me, like reaching out and like investing in myself just a year ago, like completely changed everything for me, and like completely it changed my life and my business. So I think Sorry, distractions on the side here. Um, I think for me, knowing that there's other people out there that can help and asking them for help changed everything for me. And the time where I invested in myself and made that leap, like a lot of you guys are here right now, like, on the borderline of making that leap and joining us in Love Your Career Formula. And if you don't know what that is, you can go to loveyourcareerformula.com. That's where you can actually register before we close in 3 hours. So you want to do that now and get all the bonuses. But what I realized at that time, so that was like the first time that I reached out. I got out of my comfort zone. I like reached out to people in the beginning of that networking challenge. It's very interesting because I was interviewing people who were like consultants. I got an interview at Deloitte and Touche. If anyone doesn't know that, it's like this top consulting company because I was a consultant and I thought that's the direction that I wanted to go, getting my MBA, going to go to this top consulting firm. And I was moving in that direction. I had interviews for HR. I had interviews for recruiting. I was just like searching and interviewing like anyone that I could to figure out if what was the right type of position for me, because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I kept going, and it's so interesting because I blogged about it. I was blogging then, and my readers were keeping me accountable, and it was awesome. But if you go back to my blog post and you see who I was interviewing towards the end of the interview, towards the end of the year, that's when I started interviewing. It was like May. So you can see like January, February, March, April, I was interviewing like I was on a different path. I thought I wanted something different, and doing those informational interviews and meeting people that I didn't know. And I remember in May, I started doing informational interviews with entrepreneurs, and it took 4 months of doing informational interviews in this other career field for me to realize like, okay, maybe this other thing is right for me. And then I started doing informational interview with career coaches, with entrepreneurs, with people who had websites. I'll never forget, someone who ran a really popular website at the time for business school students about, it was called Beat the GMAT. He's since like sold the company and the website and everything, but I'll never forget, like that was a turning point for me because in that informational interview, like he just offered to help me. He offered his time to help me and to help me figure out my path. And he was the first person that was like, have you ever thought of like sending out an email with interview tips? Because I had been blogging for so long. And just that one thing, like, have you ever thought of like helping people with interviews or sending out emails to help people with interviews? Like something from your website, having people opt in, like you guys know now, we have like a gazillion opt-ins on our website, but it all started with, it had to go through 4 months of those informational interviews to get to May, where he finally told me that little piece of information that was a huge light bulb, and that set me on a completely different path. Starting an email list, that was in 2011, and like completely going down this career coaching path, doing informational interviews with career coaches who I'm still friends with today, and like just that, learning from them like what I needed to do to get to their level. And all of a sudden it was like I shot up to their level. Right. And to some of them, like even like our business was growing even faster just from like surrounding myself with as many people as possible at that point that were in the careers that I really wanted to have. And so all that to say, like that year of like building my network, building my community changed everything for me. And that really was the start of like realizing what my direction and where I wanted to go. So if you've been listening to the Get Unstuck workshop and my webinar from Tuesday night, that really was the explore phase. I was like exploring, and there you can't skip that phase. And most of us skip to job search, or we skip to online job searches, we skip to resumes, we skip to LinkedIn, we skip to interviewing, we skip to just like applying to any old job. And that experience taught me that there's just so much in that explore phase it's not taught in college. It's not taught in career centers. One of my life dreams is to get Love Your Career Formula into career centers and universities and be teaching this stuff to college grads. There's been so many college grads joining us in Love Your Career Formula, and it just like, it excites me so much because that's really where this needs to start. But obviously my love is working with women who are mid-level, because that's where I was. I was 8 years in a top consulting firm with a steady paycheck and security, and like, you know, I didn't know what that next career was. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so the types of things I was interviewing were things that I thought was right, but it really wasn't until I just kept becoming that explorer. I took a year in that explorer phase to really figure out where I wanted to go. And then the next time, and let me know if this is like resonating with any of you guys, if you've had trouble networking, what networking is like with you. If you're going to do a networking challenge, you don't have to do a 4x4, you can do a 1x1. A lot of our blog readers have been with me since we started that networking challenge in 2011, which is incredible. But it's really been a journey. And after that, after that year, I really realized what it was, like what the career is that I wanted. And then that's a whole nother thing, because you can spend a lot of time in explore phase and figure out what the ideal career fit is for you. And a lot of you guys here might already know what your ideal career is. And then it comes finding it or doing it. So it might be starting your job search, making a career transition. It might be starting a business, but there's a point where you actually have to make that career change and you actually have to do it. So what happens at that time is that you go through this point where you have to figure out then how to make that happen. And for me, that was another very, very tough part. So the first part was when I was like shy, I was introverted. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. Like that was my first like stuck moment. And my other stuck moment was kind of after that explore phase. So now I knew what I wanted to be. I knew that I wanted to be a career coach. I knew I wanted, or I knew I wanted to be in like HR or training and development. I wanted to be a professor. Like I knew the direction that I wanted to be. But then it's like, how the heck am I going to find that? Like some of you guys might be like that right now. Like, you know what you want, but it's not like it just magically appears, and it's not like it's advertised online, your dream jobs. A lot of when we've been asking what your dream jobs are, a lot of them just sound so incredible, but it's not like it's the hidden job market. There's so many jobs that are hidden. And so you can't just rely on the online job search. And if you watch my webinar from Tuesday, you know we talked about this a lot and how important it is to network and how important it is to get in that supportive community. So that was really me next. That was me like, okay, I'm past the explore phase. I know what I want, but now I need to actually get there. And now I need to make my dream happen. And at that time for me, personally, I know this isn't just career and work stuff, right? Like this is all like your life is intertwined in this, and there could be challenges that you're having in your life. And I know when I was going through my whole journey, and it's something I've been thinking a lot more about too, because I have like this goal of someday writing a book about my entire journey, because it's just been like, it's like this, like, it's like, honestly, there's times where I'm like, is this really my life? Like, is this for real? Like, did this really all happen to me? And that's like the ups and downs. And so for me, knowing like, okay, this is what I want, but not knowing how to get there, that was one of like the really, really hardest points for me. And like trying to do it on my own, like trying to turn this blog into a full-time business on my own, or making my dream career happen, was something that was just like, it just didn't happen. It just didn't. Like, there's just no way I could have had my dream career, eventually becoming a professor, and then eventually having our business and my team, without me making that step to like invest myself. And when your personal life is like colliding with your work life, it's no good either. And I know for me, like I was extremely stressed out at work all while having this dream. Like I had this dream, it was alive, like I was gonna make it happen. But for me, that consulting career that I was in, it was just, I was completely burnt out. I was stressed out. My clients were calling me on the weekends, on the evenings. It was a really like hard time. It was like Monday mornings I would dread for sure. Like I didn't want to go to work. I would come home crying. I didn't go to happy hours or any like social events. I kind of let all my like friends like go because I was just not a happy person. Like I couldn't commit to being in being a happy, I mean, you guys know who know me now, like, or see me now, like I'm a happy person, like I'm a positive person. And back then I wasn't. Like back then it was tears. It was just so stressful trying to be in this career that just didn't fit me, along with a career that didn't fit my personality, along with a career that had a client that was crazy and, just so overwhelming. Like we did not work together. There was just, I'm not going to go into office drama because you guys probably already have it and don't want to deal with it. But for me, it was just, I lived with that for a long, long time of just like being so nervous to go to work. You do not have to live like that. Like there is a career out there that will fit you so much better. And for me, like as we're going through this whole journey that I've been telling you about, in my personal life, I was striving to be a mother. Like I was working so hard to become a mother and it was just not panning out the way that I thought it would be. And there was door close after door close. At that time, I had already had 2 miscarriages over the span of those like 2 years that I was growing this business, growing the blog in the very beginning, doing the networking challenge. Like everything I was doing was to get my mind off of my personal life, because my personal life, besides my amazing husband, who I hope is listening to this, he's awesome. And we were dealing with our personal junk. But I was also like going head first into my dream career because it's the only thing that was like, it was the only thing I had. It really was like the only thing in my life that was good. Was not, my marriage was good, but I wanted to be a mom so badly and to have miscarriages. I know they're so common. So maybe there's someone here tonight who's had them, but it's just devastating. And it took me it would take me a year to really recover from them. And so in that time, in that year, I would just focus on my career. And then after the second one, I would just focus on the networking, on the career and like where I was going, even though my career, and I know like I was very stressed out. I was not taking care of myself. I was overweight. I was not happy. I was not positive. There was just so much negative in my life at that point. And so for me, it was this constant push to try and become happier because I needed to, for me and my health and my future family. But I just had this vision. I had this vision that, and this happened right after. So we also tried IVF and that didn't work at all. And I remember that when I found out that IVF didn't work, so after 2 miscarriages, IVF didn't work. I was rock bottom after rock bottom after rock bottom, and that didn't work out. And I remember staying up late that night and watching The Secret and on Netflix, and I couldn't sleep. I was watching The Secret, and I just started like writing in my phone on my notes. I started writing my vision, and I started writing what I wanted for my future. And in my mind, that was a real turning point. I also read like a Tony Robbins book at that point too. It was, I think it was The Power Within. Is that the name of it? But both those things, it was like, we're going to stop being negative. We're going to stop being in this low point, this depressed point that I was, and we're going to move forward and we're going to be in a more positive space. And that's at that point, like 2 weeks after I found out IVF, or maybe it was even a week after, I can't remember. It was very, very close after writing this vision, after watching The Secret and like saying like, I'm going to change my life and this is what my future is going to look like. And all of that, like a week after all that happened, then something very similar to our Get Unstuck workshop happened, and the doors were open to me to join a program very similar to what we're doing tonight, opening Love Your Career Formula. And I made the leap. I made that investment in myself because it was so many closed doors. It was like, there's something else, right? There's some reason that this keeps being shut in my face. Like this, there's something else out there for me. At that time, I was still full-time. I was still had, you know, a blog. It wasn't a business, but it was a dream of what I wanted my career to be and what I wanted my life to be, for my future child. And I'll never forget joining that community. And this is what we've strived to so much for in Love Your Career Formula. Joining that community really changed everything for me because it was all online. It was all virtual. I'm an introvert. And so it was like perfect for me to just start being around the people that I wanted to be like, and the people that were positive and the people that were supportive. And they didn't know my history. They didn't know all the gunk I was like dealing with, but it was like my way to like, focus in on where I was going and to make that vision journal happen. And everything changed. Like I dove in, because not everyone does the material, right? Like not everyone does the actual videos and the training. And I dove in and I did it all like week by week. And that's exactly how we have it in Love Your Career Formula. It's like week by week, we have the materials, we have your to-do list. We tell you exactly what you need to do. And if you do that, the same thing's going to happen with you. Like within 3 months for me, you know, everything had really changed. My business, because it was just me at that point with Laura, my virtual assistant. But where I went from investing in myself and joining this community, and then everything just changed. Everything just skyrocketed. And I had my first event 3 months after that. And then I found out I was pregnant with Mila, who's my daughter, she's 3, in September. So I also asked my company, and so this was in 2014. I told my boss I was going part-time. Like I started making these decisions that were going to make me happier. I went part-time, and then I got a job offer as a professor at DeVry University, which was like my dream job. So it was like so much, it was like I had to make that leap, make that commitment, make that like commitment to myself. Like I started eating better, because this is all related, right? Like I started eating better. I started working out. I started taking care of myself. I started, you know, doing the vision journal every day, doing the affirmations every day, just being positive, listening to positive podcasts, reading every morning, waking up early before work, and eventually being able to go part-time because things were working in my dream career, getting the professor position, finding out I was pregnant. Like it was like the 4 to 5 months were incredible of the change that made. Even though it was like one of my toughest times, it changed everything, making that leap and joining that community and having that community to support me. Like I didn't have to be alone. Other people had gone through the phases. Other people had done the exact same things as I was about to. So I was able to speed up everything, and everything just grew. And so that's really our whole goal for Love Your Career Formula, is to support you. It's a community. We're there for you. It's a family more than anything else. And so we'd love to invite you to the family. We'll be up all night waiting to welcome you in to join us in Love Your Career Formula. Our Facebook group is happening. We have members from all over the world, and so there's something that's happening all the time, but we're really there for you, not only the community, but just also every week getting those emails from me, getting that little positive message. On every Sunday we send like the weekly push, the action plan. So that's where you're going to really get the weekly motivation from me, the little audio giving you that push that you don't have to give up and you can keep going, and we're there for you. This morning, I interviewed Jen. She's the community manager in Love Your Career Formula, and she's awesome. So she's waiting there for you as well. And we have the 3 bonuses that will be going away after tonight when we do close doors. We only do 2. We've had this question come up too, is like, when will you be reopening Love Your Career Formula? So we only do 2 public open enrollments every year. And so we're probably won't we don't know when the next one is, because I haven't done my 2018 plan. That's on my to-do list right now, is to plan out next year. So I don't exactly know when it will, but probably not till springtime is probably when the next public open enrollment for Love Your Career Formula will be. So it's definitely not something that you want to wait on. I mean, that's a long time of moving forward with your dream and making things happen, and that can really change everything for you. So I encourage you to just give it a try. It's only $39 a month. You know, there's no contract required. So, you know, you can join it, you can see what it's all about, and we can support you and you can ask away, ask any questions. We'll have a kickoff call next week with Jen and I. And so that's really your opportunity to ask questions, to get the help you need. And yeah, it's awesome. So we'll hope to see you guys in there. Let me check the Facebook group and see if any questions have come in. I know it's late. Hey, how is this? So I got on this morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, and now I'm on tonight at 9 a.m. Pacific. So you guys get me twice today. How awesome is that? And I know we'll have some of you guys be listening to the recording as well. So let's see if we have anyone commenting here. Okay, so we've had some comments come in. Let's see here. Amanda says, I just realized you are in North Park, San Diego, and so am I, fellow introvert INTJ. Well, I am an ISAFJ, so very similar, Amanda. Hopefully we'll get to meet sometime. I used to live in North Park. We're up in Rancho Bernardo, Forest Ranch right now, but I love North Park. I lived there. My daughter was born right there in Hillcrest at UCSD, and we lived in North Park for her first year. Yes, her entire first year we lived in North Park, and I'll always remember it. I have such good memories of like walking around. If you guys don't know San Diego, you don't know North Park, but North Park's amazing. It's changing so much. John and I love going down there. So yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for being here. Amy says, this group has brought me a stranger that introduced me to my publisher. It's amazing. That's awesome. Are you writing a book, Amy? I didn't know that. That's incredible. Yeah, and that's, I mean, the Classy Frugal Network is the first stop, right? Like that's where we want, everything is here positive for you. You can get the support that you need for sure. And so it's really just taking that next level, going into Love Your Career Formula, because that's where you're going to actually get the training that's like suited exactly to where you're at. By taking the first thing you'll do is you'll take the quick assessment. It's not a bad assessment. Some people were like, what kind of assessment is it? It's not like, we're not scoring you. We'll tell you what phase you're in. So that will be helpful. Dee's here. Hi, Dee. How are you? How are you? Let us know how you're doing. I think you're expecting a little one. It's good to see you. Rachel says, here's the link for Love Your Career Formula. Yes, it's www.loveyourcareerformula.com. Amy says, when does it close tomorrow? It's actually closing tonight at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. That is in 2.5 hours. Amanda says, I took the initiative, contacted someone who was interviewed on a podcast, learned he was local, found him on LinkedIn, sent him a message, invited him for a meet and greet, and met in person today. That's awesome. So that just, I mean, he said yes, right? Like you just never know who you might run into or who's willing to say yes to. So that's awesome. Oh gosh, I think I can't see the rest of your comment anymore. But that's cool. I couldn't see the bottom. Unfortunately, it just went away. Let me refresh and then I'll go back to it. But seriously, the power of networking, and people do want to help you. People are usually more than happy to help, especially if you just take, 15 minutes of their time, which we recommend. I thought at most we would spend 30 minutes, and we ended up spending 3 hours. I learned so much. He had amazing experience and advice. I'm glad I just took your advice to be proactive and leverage social media for networking. Thank you. Explore Network 4x4. That's awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad I'm encouraging you guys to network and just to reach out, because honestly, what's the worst that can happen? If you reach out to someone who you really admire, who you want to interview and contact and meet someday, like what's the worst that can happen? They could say no. Well, they're not really the type of people that you want in your network anyway. So, oh good, Amy, John told you, Amy, that door is closed tonight. Okay, awesome. Well, let me see. I don't think we have any other questions, but thanks everyone for participating in our workshop and just supporting this whole awesome couple weeks that we've had going on. If you haven't already grabbed all the workshop materials, go grab the PDFs and everything, because the workshop will actually be closing tonight as well. And the future's bright. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up. We've got a lot remaining here for you guys for the rest of 2017. Of course, we'd love to do the journey with you side by side and Love Your Career Formula. So if you are stuck, if you're feeling like a career transition is needed, but you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, or maybe you're thinking you might want to start a business, but you don't really know, or you don't know what type of business, all of those things are a great reason to start. Or even like if you're your ideal career, but you need some resume templates and cover letter templates and LinkedIn tips and all that stuff, interviewing tips, salary negotiation tips, social media tips, all that stuff. Love Your Career Formula has all that for you, and helping you, within those first 90 days of your career, and helping you become the leader. So that's the big thing that's different, is like what you need on day 1 is very different than what you need on day 100. And so we want to guide you through your entire career. This isn't like a 5-week boot camp. We have members in Love Your Career Formula who've been in for years, and I love seeing that journey, right? Because it's an ongoing journey. Even if you get to the leadership phase, you might become a leader of your company and be like, oh, I'm still curious about a different career path. Like, what if maybe I want to make a career transition? You go back to the explore phase. And so there's nothing wrong with whatever phase you're in. And that's kind of how we've designed Love Your Career Formula as well. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's it for the night. We are going to sign off. I'm probably going to hop on Instagram Live. So if any of you guys are on Instagram, go on Classy Career Girl account, and I'm going to probably hop on there and do another live over there. So have a great night, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everyone.